All right. I am on the wrong screen. Boy, this is going to be interesting, and I'm not stopping and starting over either. Welcome, welcome, welcome to my Fix Buddies. Dot, what? See, I don't know. If I make one more mistake, I'm going to start over. Anyway, welcome to my Ethics Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there are multiple mediums on which you can enjoy this content. But my favorite way is the blog. And the blog is parked at myfxbuddies.blogspot.com. And that's a lot to remember or to type out. So wherever you are engaging with this content, look for a prompt of more info, intro, description, something of that nature. Activate that and another box will open that will have a link to the blog. Regulars, say it with me. The free blog. And you don't even have to put your email in. And I don't sell you anything. All right. So the reason I was on the other, so here it is Saturday, and I didn't think there was going to be a reason, right, to post. But my. Okay. So you know what? And I think I forgot the most important article, but we'll see. We'll see. All right. The reason I was on this screen, so this is yesterday's. Welcome if this is your first time to the My Ethics Buddies experience. All right. Yeah, I'm a little different, but stick around. You'll get used to me, and then you'll wonder, how did I do without her? Okay, so yesterday was Friday, July 25th, and I put two things at the bottom. Some people don't really want to read the articles. They want to know about the articles, but they don't want to read them. So when I have extra stuff, I put it at the bottom. So if you were listening to yesterday's and remember, I was like, there's a part. He says Washington is dissatisfied with what is happening in Iraq. And of course, I found it. It's this guy right here. Oop, oop, oop. So this video is here, but like I said, this video is in Arabic. So, and it's not the whole thing, as you could see. This show was probably an hour long, but they took this guy, Mr. Aga, and let's see, here's the name of the video. Washington is dissatisfied with the Iraqi government's performance. Okay, and so now you're seeing, I guess there was an article out today or yesterday confirming that, because I've been saying it for about a month reluctantly, right? I've been saying I think something's going on between, matter of fact, it might even be 2 months. I lose track of time, but now evidence is coming out. People are blatantly saying it, but I think we have a remedy today, and we'll get to that. So yeah, so if you want to see that, this is Friday, July 25th blog. And there it is. He says Washington is dissatisfied with what is happening in Iraq in all its details. I mean, the administration of the state, the parliament, relations with the federal government in the region. He's like, there ain't nothing they're happy with, right? The federal government and the rest of the parties. America is noticing. This means that what Iraq should have has deviated from then the rest, whatever, right? But so, yeah, alrighty. And then I had this video that if I hit play, will it play? Yeah. So, you know what? I'll just go. Now, these are different times, but they ran this on Friday and they ran it again today. So let me just show you some of the things. So they're talking about, I believe, they're talking about all they had to do to get to where they are now, because they're like a lot of digital, and we know that word. As reflect is the education, right? So It's really neat. Now, there's no sound. Okay, I think it's neat, and some people will think it's neat. So they're showing you all the it's frozen for some reason. Okay, whatever. That may be a sign to move away from there. So we'll do that. Oh no, it's me. I'm frozen. Jeez Louise, I already had one issue with this computer. Okay, I'm gonna pause. All right. So I won't be bouncing all around because I don't know what this thing is doing. It's probably my fault. I have like way too many tabs open. I mean, like, I have a problem with tabs, really. Um, See, they even gave me a tab search. That's how many tabs I have open on 3 different windows. And then I have the nerve to complain that the computer won't work, right? All right. Anyway, so now this is today, Saturday, July 26th. And look, payday at last. So these are the workers that got paid today. Yesterday was the retirees and the benefit people, which is like welfare. Um, what do we call it here? Social Security, right? Those they got paid yesterday. Oh, and someone, shoot, I was gonna say his name. I think it was a him. But someone let me know that video that was on Twitter showing the people running into the bank, that was from February, not today or yesterday, right? So thank you to you know who you are. I appreciate that. Now, this is the picture they used in the article. So if it's not a current one, and it's so weird because some publications they'll put the date there of when this picture is, but this one they didn't do that. So, and I don't know what this bank in Erbil looks like, right? So, yeah, so it says they flocked to banks and ATMs on Saturday to collect their long delayed wages, ending an 85-day wait caused by protracted financial dispute. Hold on. Um, and between Baghdad and Erbil. Okay, so if you want to read that, you can. And oh, no, no, no. As a matter of fact, I did want to read. Okay, the okay. So remember, I was like, I'm sure they're used to living this way, and they probably save money. And no, they interviewed Miss. Well, I presume it's a Mrs. She said that the salary will barely cover debts incurred during the delay. Most of us borrowed money or even sold household items to survive. This payment is just a lifeline, not a revival of economic life. Ugh, isn't that sad? Now I really feel bad because I was like, oh, they're used to not getting paid regularly. Huh. No, they're not. So, well, some people, right? Just like we have different ranges of people. I don't want to say class, but yeah. So the public feels used as leverage in political tug-of-wars, and that only hurts citizens and the regional economy. All right. So then after they had that pretty damaging article yesterday about the My Account project, they put this out. The project team confirmed that all remaining public employees across the Kurdistan region will soon be onboarded. So that kind of sounds like they're giving you an account whether you want it or not, right? Ensuring access to modern banking services for the entire public workforce. Yeah, but what if you're not working? See, and that's why, I mean, there's people, they have apps, they have a cash society, right? I think they use Venmo, but in Iraq, not, there's something like that they use, in Iraq where they can pay each other. But that's probably the youth, right? People, you have to have a cell phone for that. and all of that. But there's people that sell stuff on the street that do cash. So do they have to get a bank account? You know what? I don't know. All right. So yeah, so that's gonna happen. This is my favorite article of the day, okay? And it's not exciting, but after Rubio's call, okay, if you don't know, there's a law that Iraq wants to pass to legitimize and pay these forces, right? That we don't want them to pay. Okay, so that's one thing. The second thing was there were phones. What's the other word I use? Bones. How about that? Take any of those words and put a DR in front of it. That were messing with oil fields, and they weren't doing anything about it. So Marco Rubio made a phone call and was like, hey, you better do something about that. And that PMF force law, yeah, table that. So they didn't like that, and they've been pushing back. But look at this. After Rubio's call, the framework may back down from passing the crowd law, which is the PMF people. Because, going back to yesterday's blog, video, whatever, there was a meeting in Turkey on the sidelines of the neighbor and us talks that said if you don't do whatever by whenever, you're going to get some sanctions on you, right? So I think whoever was at that meeting came back and said, look, they ain't playing this time, because they even gave the neighbor, it ends with an N, right? Till August 1st. And they said if nothing's done by August 1st, the talks on our side are over. And we'll probably go back in action, which I hope that doesn't happen. So that's 5 days. 6 days? 5 or 6 days away. So I like this. And here's the framework. The coordination framework is attempting to portray this law crisis as a confrontation with the U.S., but politicians believe this approach could lead to a strategic mistake. All right, so I have other things to cover, but I wanted to show you the people that I know that are there. This is Maliki, this is Sadani. They're sitting right next to each other. So, does Sadani like Maliki? I can't imagine. You know he wants you out. He wants your position. And you have to sit right next to him. Maybe I'm emotionally immature. I don't see myself sitting next to someone I know that wants my seat, right? Okay, anyway, this guy is named Hakeem. He has a really big following. Also, this is Fawad Hussein. This is Pavel or Babo Talabani. I think that's Halabusi, but I'm not sure because he has his head turned. But I've seen Halabusi at multiple angles, and that might be him. And then this guy is Amir. So, the majority of these people at the table are paid, backed, given orders by Iran. And here they are making decisions on bills that should or should not be passed. So you see the problems? There's the problems. There's one of the problems why they can't get anything done. So this comes amid escalating tensions as parliamentary elections scheduled for the end of this year approach and political forces seek to win the votes of Popular Mobilization Forces members and their families. And now it might be this article or it may be another one here. There could be up to 300,000 people. So if they don't go with that law, they may be hurt by these up to 300,000 people. But if I was Sadani, I would get the statement from the Federal Reserve and I would have one for each person and say, see all this money? This is our money. But you see whose name is on this bank statement? Yeah, the Federal Reserve. So look, we need to do what we need to do to get access to our money. The next time around, we can pass the laws we want to pass. That's what I would do, right? But that's me. But anyway, yeah, so if you want to read that. And then the parts that I really liked or that I thought was interesting, I put in blue or red. And so, of course, here's this guy. I think this is the guy that actually had an article last week. And that said it was something like, is America interfering with the popular mobilization law? And it was like, yes, we're definitely interfering. But yeah, so the Al Nujaba movement considered Rubio's statements blatant interference, stressing that what happened in the call was evidence of the legitimacy of the resistance and the necessity of its continuation to protect Iraq from violations. So, and then here's the strategic mistake. So yeah, so if you want to read that, I found it was interesting, like I said. And this, no room for procrastination. The framework, here's a Sunni leader. And he added, the framework, or at least broad parties within it, realize that a clash with Washington at this time would be costly. So Iraq will try to respond to U.S. demands, but in a way that is marketed internally to avoid any Shiite conflict. So there's already problems in the framework. They're split. The Shiites are a pretty big party also, so they don't want them to split. But anyway, all right. So I thought this was interesting timing for this to come out. A government source denied via the news that Washington has rejected all Sudani's visit. But no meeting was originally requested. So people just starting stuff like, same like they do here. Rumors get started. Maybe, right? Maybe it is true. But since it was leaked out, oh my gosh. It looked like someone was going to get hit by a car. Anyway, yeah, so Sudani's visit to the U.S. is not currently on his agenda, and therefore there is no talk of a rejection. All right, then here they put this out. The CBI has some fines imposed on certain banks. If you want to read that, you can. Here's an article we don't like to see because it means they're giving up on passing a budget for this year. Parliamentary finance, no intention to send budget tables. Spending proceeds according to the 1/12 mechanism. So what do? They go back to the last year budget that was approved and put in the Gazette. And whatever that value was, that's the value they use for the budget. So I think it's 2019, but some people think it's 2023. So either way, that's not a good article to see. But it doesn't mean that they still can't sneak it in there. This, you can read that. It's not important because we're running out of time. This is interesting. The Baghdad Erbil Agreement, a rare opportunity to revive the oil and gas law or a temporary political calm. And look at that. They did some. That's not even Photoshop. I think that is Canva, if you're familiar with Canva. They got the sun behind them. Here comes the sun, right? Then there's oil and new buildings and they're shaking hands. All of that is fake. That was my phone. Let me see. All right. But this is a good, if you're new, this is a good history of the oil and gas law, when it started, when it stopped. So I do think they're abandoning that and going with a new. See this? Despite the fragility of the recent oil agreement, it may represent a rare historic window to open the oil and gas law file. So, June salaries will be sent soon. And a representative adds, unless there's an emergency. Oh, and by the way, they're having a heat holiday tomorrow. It's going to be 50 Celsius, 52, 54. So some places are going to be like full holiday, some are going to be like half holiday. All right, this is interesting. I thought, especially since, like I said, they ran that, I don't even know what you call it, infomercial about going digital, the steps they took and everything. Digital transformation is essential to address the liquidity crisis in Iraq. See if more, and I just think they don't want to print new bills because they want to just bring out the new notes, right? So the more people that use electronic payments or digital payments, the less of either currency they need, right? So that's another reason why they're trying to push them to that. So you could read that if you want. And here's the book. I think last month there was a little article about Samir al-Nusari's book. And now I think that's actually it. Doesn't it look like a textbook? All right. And then there's the CBI. It's called Monetary Policy, Monetary Stability Approach, and Digital Transformation from the years 2023 to 2025. And here's just a brief, this is the long-winded man, right? So, but I would love to read that chapter. Exchange rates, chapter 5, and recovery procedures. Interesting timing to have that come out, right? When the people are going to need to know how the exchange rate is changing and the recovery procedures. And I'm not saying they can't learn it. They're very intelligent people. They have to know multiple currencies, multiple conversions. But this is a lot for a lot of these people that are 20, 25, 30. This is new. This is new stuff. So, oh, and there's the if you want to support my FX buddies, here's the means to do it. And this will be a live link when this is a live blog. Buymeacoffee.com/Tishwash. Cash App is always live. $Tish and PayPal is also Tishwash. And thank you for your generosity in advance. All right, so we need to hurry. We only have 7 minutes, but we're more than halfway through. So this came out writes the U.S. Secretary of State statements are brazen and constitute blatant interference in Iraqi affairs. So this is a different person. See, there's their name. They said that on Saturday. So they stopped showing the call on the TV, at least that I can see, because they were showing it. They showed it like 3 days in a row after it happened, and now it's just in the news. So he called his statements offensive. Washington's opposition to the approval of the Popular Mobilization Forces law is completely unacceptable and constitutes blatant and unacceptable interference. He's really mad, right? All right. So these next 3 are about Barzani. And he's just really saying, sorry, people, that you're being used as leverage, but this is political and we have to go through this, but we're trying to work it out. We're working on getting you your June and July money, right? All of that. And he also met with Steve Bittner. That's a name, right? Who is our U.S. Consul General. They had a meeting agreeing on the need to resume oil exports, protect the Kurdish region's federal entity. That's the families. The Kurdistan region's federal entity are the Barzanis and the Talibanis, and secure its constitutional and financial rights. All right, so if you want to read anything, read that one. And I think that's him. That's Steve Bittner. But now I do know this was, I believe that is an older picture. But anyway, that's them shaking hands. So here's the meeting I was talking about in Turkey, where they were saying sanctions on the neighbor by the end of August if it does not cooperate. Oh, the end. I thought it said August 1st. The end of August, unless they cooperate. And guess what? They're not going to cooperate. And look at this, the snapback mechanism. I never heard of that. And if I wasn't involved in this, I still wouldn't have never heard of that. But apparently, there's a special provision in the UN Security Council resolution about when they try to make that word there, agreement. So yeah, so they're really trying, I guess. And there was even an article saying, are they really trying or are they just buying time? Look at this. This is interesting. And look how short. It's just 2 sentences. So, to enhance loading and unloading operations, 5G smart equipment arrives at the Qasr port. Yeah, that's how I say that. Qasr. How would you say that? All right, but look at it. It's so pretty, right? At night. Daytime. Ugh. But anyway, yeah, they're giving them 5th generation smart equipment. Where else do they have 5G in Iraq? All right, let's see. The federal government has no knowledge of the number of oil fields or production volume in the Kurdistan region. So, I find it very interesting that they're putting this out. This is the Parliamentary Oil Committee from Baghdad, from the federal region. See? The federal government. So, if they're trying to negotiate percentages of barrels of oil that need to be forked over, then how are they doing that if they don't know? Kurdistan has so much oil. They don't even know how much oil they have. So why are they pointing that out now? I think they're going to ask for more oil, and Turkey is asking for more stuff. But I don't think this is really new. I think this has been going on for maybe a month. So, yeah. And see, normally I wouldn't care about this. I don't care about barrels of oil halfway around the world. But this is what they put in the news, so this is what I gotta look at. All right. And then here, now this I don't like. Well, one thing I do like. So he talks pretty bad about Miss Sammy, the finance minister, knows nothing about the budget. But I do like how they're starting to admit we made a huge mistake by passing the trilogy, which is the 3-year budget. Now, she's the finance minister. She probably knows everything, but Sudani is telling her, don't you tell them parliament dogs nothing. Okay, sorry, he probably didn't call them dogs. But, yeah. So, he should have just came out and said, look, I put that article twice. I'll delete it. Okay, yeah, so, oh, there was something, you know what? Yeah, my computer went down. They already are talking about the 2026 budget. Let's see if I can get it. Yay, I got it. Okay, I'm going to post this article tomorrow. You see this? U.S. Envoy, Abraham Accords to expand to 10 countries by year's end. That's a problem. That they don't, some of those countries don't really want that, but they may be forced. So yeah, they already have an article about the government's first comment on the 2026 budget. It is precise and unique. Okay, just give me 2 minutes. Just give me 2 minutes. So this is Mohammed Saleh. He outlined the features of the draft general budget law for next year, stressing that it will include a unique financial experience characterized by accuracy and the ability to manage economic activity. It will also witness an expansion in the fiscal space, which means a greater ability to collect non-oil revenues. So they're going to go back to the 1 year audit, 1 year budgets. Hopefully we won't have to be here for that, but hey, if we have to be, you know your girl, she'll be there for you. All right. So that's why I'm kind of thinking they're giving up on the 2025 budget. But anything can happen. Anything is possible. I'm still singing that. There's a song. You are more than able. You are more than able. I don't know who sings it. I think it's that Elevation group. It's a group of people. And at the end, they say, anything is possible. All right. And I still believe that. So I'll post that on the blog tomorrow. And I'm going to post that Abraham Accords because I don't think, and just forgive me, I'm not trying to insult anyone. I don't think a lot of people know what that is and how serious it is. Okay. So thank you. That was a long one. And see, I didn't even cover all the articles there. And I didn't even post. There were others I could have posted too. But anyway, so thank you for listening or watching. Accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals and pay all your bills. Subscribe, join, follow because I don't update regularly. And if all things work like they're supposed to, then when I do post, you'll be updated. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out. And if you missed the last video, it's going to pop up at the end of this one. All right, enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you are indulging in this content. And until next time.